Hello there, everyone. TheAndrata here, and welcome back to episode 14 of our FTB Skies Let's Play series, where today we get into auto-crafting with refined storage. My absolute favorite time of any mod pack, when we can get digital storage, and then when we can start auto-crafting things. I do not like to do work, so the less work I have to do, the more I can make the machine do for me, the better. Let's get started. Welcome back, my friends, to another wonderful day here in the world of TheAndrata, where we got some stuff set up here that we're going to talk about in a moment. In between episodes there, didn't do terribly too much. I did try and resort this power that we had going on here that was causing us some issues, and I tried to set up our phytogenic insulator. And I was successful with it. Basically, the phytogenic insulator is set up with power coming in the bottom. We have our refined storage axis coming in here. On the back, I have an importer, which is just taking all of the stuff and dumping it into our refined storage system. And then on the top and the side here, I have exporters. This exporter is exporting water, and this exporter is exporting seeds. If you're going to export liquids from your refined storage system, make sure that you change your type to fluids over here so that it can export those fluids. But if we come in here, I went ahead and got ourselves flux linkage amplifiers and everything, and it's doing the thing. It is producing flax. You do need to get seeds imported. As you can see, it's going to drop down, so it does move the seeds over to the output, essentially. Or it uses the seeds, but every time it completes a craft, it makes a seed, so essentially it's moving the seed. It's really not that big of a deal. But the flax is what's important. So I have those set up in here, and both of those are going into a drawer, and we're already at 226, and I did not AFK for very long at all. Like, it was very minimal that I sat here. So we're doing good. Now we have string on crafts, so which means we can make the processor bindings, which means we can make all the different things that we're going to need. This I don't like, though. Like this, the phytogenic insulator requiring 3 inputs and outputs is kind of annoying. I don't necessarily care for this. I'd like to try and clean up this system here at some point. Like, we're not going to need the pulverizer or the smelter, the redstone furnace anymore once we get the crusher and everything automated and set up. And ultimately, we're going to end up with 2 of those. We're going to have one that's auto-processing everything, and then one that is used for auto crafting and everything. But for now, this is where we are at. So that's that. Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave that going for now. It's fine. The only thing that's not hooked up right now is the sawmill, and we don't necessarily utilize the sawmill very often. I do. Phytogenic insulator, can you make trees? That's a great question. I guess I don't really need that. Oak? Can the phytogenic insulator make trees? Usage. It can. We're going to absolutely set up another phytogenic insulator then with saplings, and we're going to get logs coming from a phytogenic insulator. I'm going to add that onto the to-do list again. Crafting this was not terribly too difficult, by the way. It required me to make lumium, but lumium is a pretty easy craft, and I have extra because I just made a stack of it. But it's in the induction smelter, glowstone, tin, and silver gets us lumium. So that was the only thing that stopped us from getting the phytogenic insulator, which, well, it didn't stop us for very long because we end up having it now. You know what? Let's go ahead and do that. Let's get trees going. Like, trees, logs, like, I don't think that we have very many. 106. Yeah, not very many. So let's get that going so that way we can just have those available to us as needed when we need them. I'm going to need an importer. And I'm going to need 2 exporters. Luckily, I crafted a bunch of these construction cores and all that stuff in between episodes a little while ago. Pulverizer in this chest. We're not going to necessarily need this. Ideally, I'm trying to think. It's just annoying that I have to have these on the sides. I wish I could put this in the front, but it can't import from the front. It can from the bottom, but that's where power is coming in, so that doesn't really help us. And we need 2 exporters because each one can only do 1 at a time. So it can't export liquids and the flax seeds. And since it does have to input, that's the issue. So I guess we'll, for now, hopefully we don't end up needing these later, but if we do, we'll have them available to us. I did have to go ahead and put a, oh, hello. I had to put a range upgrade because I couldn't access my storage from my base everywhere. Anyway, let's go ahead and set up this phytogenic insulator. Now we're definitely going to need to get the upgrades on this, and I don't have all the signalum and all that stuff, but that's okay. We'll run some cable. We will get our importer set up on the back, and then exporter top and side with a cable bridging and a cable bridging. This is basically how I set that other one up, so I guess it's not too big of a deal that we're doing this again. Input on the front, input on the side, output on the back. We are going to need exporter. You're going to export water. Switch you over to fluids. Drag the water over. Bam. We should start getting water pumped into this. Yes. Good. Then over here, we're going to want to export oak saplings because that's what we are working with. So we export oak. And it should start putting oak, and it'll start doing the thing, and it'll start importing them. From this, let's turn off the export. I want to see, what is it that we get out of this? I don't know why that's fluctuating between 14 and 15. It should just be putting all of them in there. Weird. Anyway, we are going to get logs, saplings, and apples. So let's go into our drawers over here and let's get all of our logs. Yeah, I don't know what's happening here. It's being funky. Logs, saplings. I don't know why. It's like pulling one and pushing it back in. And apples. Do I have any apples? Good. And we can get all of those into a drawer. Logs, saplings, apples. Yeah, what is going on with this? Why is that doing that? It should just be importing in its water. Weird. Without having the export on, it was doing that bounce. I don't understand what that's about, but it was doing it. So then we can get at least get a hardened integral component. I should have the invar for that and at least speed it up a little bit. But not terribly too much. But yeah, it's producing 6 wood for us. It's much better than what we have going on now because we have absolutely no wood being produced at the moment. So now we'll start getting logs. Good. Perfect. So there we go. 2 phytogenic insulators, flax, logs, crafted, taken care of without having to do any kind of fanciness or anything too crazy. So that being said, today what I want to work on is start getting ourselves into auto crafting with refined. One of the things that I want to do, I would love to get auto crafting for refined set up in a compact machine. The storage wall, while fantastic looking, I don't like seeing it. I don't want it here. I don't want to look at it. I don't like it. I want to get it out of here. So I want to get this into a storage machine. By the way, I found out that with these storage controllers, I need 2 storage controllers. I need one for a liquid wall, and I need one for our blocks wall. So I had to set up a separate storage controller that is linked to these liquid drawers with its own external storage, and the reason being is because I needed to have this on fluids. Granted, I probably could have just set a second external storage up on this guy and set one to fluids and only had one, but I didn't think of that until just this moment. So bada bing, bada boom, that's where we're at. Anyway, I want to get at least that stuff into a compact machine, and maybe our crafters and stuff, just because they take up, not that they necessarily take up a whole bunch of room, but they're just kind of unsightly and everything like that. It's just having walls and stuff, and it's not my aesthetic. So I'd like to get into compact machines at some point. In order to do so, we need deep slate, though. Deep slate is required for crafting the walls for the compact machines. So to get deep slate, the only real way for us to get deep slate is either by getting into Ars Nouveau, which we have not done yet, and getting ourselves calcite, which calcite can be produced, or there does just so happen to be a quest. Where is it at? A quest that gets us deep slate. If I make a chisel and I'm making carpenter's table, I can get a deep slate. And that's the route I'm going to go because it's cheap and easy, simple and fun. So we'll make ourselves a chisel. And we'll make ourselves a carpenter's table, which just requires a crafting table and a wooden axe and a carpenter's table. Yay! There we go. Quest completed. Let's go ahead, and we've actually not collected quests for a while, so let's just collect all the quests and see what we end up with overall. There's our deep slate. Perfect. Before we do anything, let's go take that deep slate. I have it already set up for me, so we can go ahead and put one there, and I put one in there, and now we start getting deep slate. Right? you make cobbled deep slate. In order to make regular deep slate, I would need... Can I turn cobbled deep slate into regular deep slate? By combining it or smelting it? That's perfectly fine then. I don't really care. I don't care to put a... get Silk Touch and put it on there for that. That's not that big of a deal. Nope. Buddy. There we go. Jeez Louise. Okay. Cobbled. Nope. You're the wrong inventory. Cobbled deep slate. Go away. Okay. So what did we end up getting out of that is the question. All those quests. So let's see. We got an enriched diamond. Perfect. We got some Phyto Grow. We got the Elementopedia. We got a floral obedience stick. Some floral fertilizer. Some silverfish spawn egg. Just what I've always wanted. End stone. Some cobbled deep slate. Some concrete. An endermite statue. We also need to get into that statues mod, which requires deep slate, doesn't it? Yeah, cobbled deep slate. Oh, we can get into that actually right now. Some fluorite, some fruit salad, a paste container, construction paste. I don't know if I ever mentioned, but I made the suite of building gadgets when I was building out the bases and everything like that. We got a bucket of axolotls, fluid card, quartz rich iron, diamond upgrades, void upgrades, another linking tool. That's cool. Ender tanks, crushed netherrack, and crushed endstone. Sweet. Good stuff. All good things, but things that we don't necessarily need right now. I guess we're going to pivot really quick. Man, I deviate way so much in all these episodes. I want to see what this statues thing is all about. So statue mod. You go here and you have a UI. And if I get a statue, like what does the endermite statue get me? I don't know. Let's just put it in there. Let's see what happens. Endermite. No idea how this works. Is there a book for it? There is a book. It requires this thing? Really? You're going to make a stone cutter just to get that? Well, those display stands actually look pretty nice. Little useful mobs. Okay. I mean, like if I press U on this, it says that if I get it, that's an upgrade. But if I put the usage of this, okay, statue loot. Let's look for the little buggies. Maybe the endermite doesn't have any loot. Yeah, I didn't see endermites in that list. Okay, let's look up at statue. What do I have? I have a bee statue and a creeper statue. Maybe creepers will give me something. That's cool. Chisel. Do I need to upgrade it? Yeah, 100% chance of getting gunpowder. Is this just like a passive thing? Do I just need to let it sit for a little bit? Or does it need to be hooked up to an inventory? Maybe that's the case. Let's put an inventory underneath it. Otherwise, I can make the book. But like, you know, that's not necessarily where I was going today. So it's not something that we necessarily need to work on. You didn't link to that inventory. You do have this little thing. Statue. Well, we'll let it sit there for a little bit and see what happens. I don't know what's going to ultimately happen here. Maybe cobblestone will appear somewhere. If not, we'll make the book and read it and see. It's just trying to figure things out. So get rid of you. Okay, so what I want to do today is work on getting auto crafting set up with Refine. That's my goal. So let's get started. In order to do so, we're going to need to get ourselves a pattern grid. We cannot make patterns without a pattern grid. In order to make a pattern grid, we're going to need to get ourselves a regular normal grid. So let's go ahead and grab that. We're probably going to need more than one of those, so we'll go ahead and do that. We're also going to need to get ourselves a pattern itself, and we're going to want 2 of these because I'm going to need one to craft, but I'm also going to need one to make a pattern of patterns. So we're going to get that going. That will allow me to craft a grid and a pattern grid. Perfect. Pattern grid acquired. Generally, I set my pattern grid down here, but since we have our disk drive here, how do I want to handle this? And I have my network transmitter here too. Because I need to set, I want to set auto crafting up into this so I can always have patterns available in my pattern grid. Okay, something like that. Anyway, pattern grid can just chill over here for the moment. It's fine. We'll go set this up to large. It's going to be JEI synchronized 2-way and sorting. Okay, so the pattern grid is a pretty nifty mod or a pretty nifty piece of tech, and it's one of the main reasons that I love using refined storage. Not that AE2 can't autocraft either, but the pattern grid and patterns in refined storage allow you to autocraft items. So what does that mean? Well, let's say I want to craft my patterns. That's the first thing that we're going to want to craft is more patterns. So I go ahead and I use my pattern. I press R on here and I come in here and I press move items. Now it doesn't actually move any of the items out of my inventory. These are ghost items. But if I encode that into my pattern, I now have a pattern for patterns. I'm also going to need to get myself a crafter. In order to do anything, you need a crafter in order to craft your crafts. There is multiple colors of crafters, so I'm gonna have to go in here and find the base crafter and craft that. So there's our extra machine casing I made. So we have our crafter. I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade that right away to an iron crafter. Iron crafters can craft same or normal speed, but they can hold more slots for crafts. These hold 9, I believe. This can hold 27. They are upgradable as well. I can go to a gold crafter, which crafts things 5 times faster and holds 45, 25, and 63, and 125 and 81 for netherite crafters. So obviously as you tier up, they get better. However, once we get into the gold tier, we need to get neural processors, which require obsidian on craft, which we're going to work on soon too. Anyway, with our crafter set up, we can go ahead and place that guy down. And this is why I said I want to get into compact machines, because it gets just cumbersome and ugly looking, in my opinion. Too many things, too many stuffs. I take that and I go ahead and just put that in there. And now if I come over to here, I can look at this and I can say, okay, I want patterns. Note I have no patterns in my inventory. However, it does show patterns here and it has this button that says craft. So I click on this and it gives me a new UI where I can actually ask for crafts of my items. So I could say, you know what? I want 64 patterns available to me. So I click it, I press start, and it's going to tell me, oh no, TheAndrata, you're running out of quartz enriched iron and glass. Darn. What are you going to do about that? Well, I come in here and I just say, okay, maybe I don't do that many. I do 10. So I click start and it's going to auto start crafting. One at a time. Now the upgraded crafters will be able to craft 5 at a time, but this can craft 1 at a time. Pretty simple. So then I come over here and I say, okay, well, there's that. Well, in order to make this, what did I need? Well, I needed quartz enriched iron. How do I make that? Well, that's just some iron and some quartz. I get a pattern for that. And I go ahead and pop that in here. Now, whenever I need quartz enriched iron, I have access to that. So I can control click or control shift click, and I'll be able to craft that. Even though I have some in here, I can tell it to craft me some in the background. So I can say, give me 10 more of those. And bam, we're going to see instead of 149, we have 161. Weird number change. Oh, because it's crafts in 4, so it made 12 at a time. So yeah, auto crafting makes things easy, makes things so much better for crafting purposes. So with that being said, there's some things that I'm going to want to craft automatically all the time. So what I want to do is, I think what I'm going to do, these two guys are going to be my auto crafting smelters, and then I'll get my processing smelters up later. Let's put my crusher and my energized smelter here. So what I want to do is get refined storage into these guys, so that way we can do the thing. So I think I am going to go out of the back of this instead of stopping there. We will come up and then something like so, though eventually I'm not going to need all these cables. So what I'm going to want to get is crafters for these guys. So let's go ahead and pop home and let's teach the system how to make crafters, so that way I don't have to make the crafters anymore. It knows everything that it needs to do so. Let's do that. Okay, so we're going to want to get a crafter. Let's add that to the inventory. In order to make a crafter, we're going to need a machine casing. We're going to add that, and we're going to need to make cables. We're going to add that. Now this is going to be the problem, the fluix crystals. Though that can be enriched using fluix dust, which can be made... a loot bee. Hey. Flower. Any flower. Give me a flower. I actually got a loot bee when I was AFK a little while ago. Come back on up. And I got loot, but nothing too crazy. But this is the first time that we've actually been able to do this on camera. So, excuse me, sir. You're about to drop your loot down into the void, and that is not what I want. So get up here. Thank you. Come on over and give me the good stuff. Let's see what we end up getting. Hello, friend. Hello. Well, while I'm waiting for you, we got a energetic sheep spawn egg, a gold chest, a copper ingot. He's still glowing. 2 copper ingots, 2 energetic bee eggs. He's still glowing, and he stopped glowing. All right. That was totally worth. All right, bee, chill there. Actually, no. Chill back here where you're not going to get in my way. Okay. All right, well, hey, that would have been helpful at the beginning of the game. Okay. All right. So where were we? Auto crafting, wanting to get up auto crafting set up for things, and then crafter. Now I do have these available to craft. We'll teach the system how to make. Nope, how that work. We'll teach the system how to make construction cores, but it doesn't know how to make the other kind of cores yet. The basic processors and stuff. So we'll do that. We'll do destruction core. We'll do basic processor. Nope. Okay. But it could do these at some point. Let's go ahead and shove these recipes into there. Wait, that's all I've done so far? Oh, yeah, because I hadn't gotten it to this point. Okay, so we'll do cables. We'll do machine casing. We'll do crafter. And if we put all these things in here, it should now be able to craft a crafter. However, I don't want to craft a crafter. I want to craft an iron crafter. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to do chest. Now, chest, we're going to turn off, make sure exact is turned off, so it'll use whatever logs that we have available to us. Let's put that in there. And now if I come over here and I say I want a crafter and I want an iron crafter, should be able to do so. I want 2 of these, though. And it should craft 2 iron crafters. Perfect. Love auto crafting. This is when Minecraft gets, not that it's not fun all the time. This is when Minecraft gets really fun. Because I can have the machine do it all for me. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to set up our iron crafters here. I do need to get myself the... do I have the wrench from this? No. Let's get the wrench from Refined. Not you. At Refined. So I can rotate these bad boys. It is the wrench. And we can combine you and you. You and you. And combine that. Now we have a new tool inside of here. But that will allow me to... rotate these. I don't know why it didn't auto pick up into their slots. Perfect. So what that means is that the you can kind of see it. This is like this little face here. This is the bottom. And when we look at the machine, that is where the items are going to come out of. Okay. So it's going to import from that side. All the other sides look completely different. That's the part that needs to be touching the machine that you're going to be crafting from. Go back onto auto mode, please. Interesting that it's not switching over to the wrench from Refine, but that's okay. Doesn't necessarily need to. And then we just need to get our cables hooked up here to these. Now we only need to hook up to 1. And they'll bridge. Nope. Okay. It's because I'm floating. Let's get off the float. Okay. Cool. One thing I do want to do is... No, I don't necessarily need to do that for this because these, you can name these, put them in an anvil, you can name them. I don't necessarily need to do that though because it's hooked up to the crusher and it's hooked up to the energized smelter. Okay, so then with this, we can go ahead and get recipes set up for things that we are going to need to crush or things that we are going to need to smelt. The only other thing I'm going to need from these is an importer, or I could have an interface where I can have pipes going. An interface might be a better option for this. Yes, no. I could set an interface up here, and then these can pipe out into this, because eventually I'm going to have to get upgrades on all of the import. Yeah, let's do an interface. Not a fluid interface, a regular interface. So let's go ahead. We can kick off the craft of the things that we need while I manually craft these things that have not been taught to the system, but we'll add it to our queue so we know that we need to teach it to the system. So... we taught that, we taught that, we taught that, and we taught that. So now we have importer exporter. We're going to go ahead and ask for an interface. We'll ask teach the system that eventually. And the interface itself is going to go ahead and sit, let's say here, and then bridge that with a cable. And the interface is just, it's an interface into and out of our system. But the big thing is we can put speed upgrades in here to speed up the importing. So now what we can do is go ahead and get item pipes, link that up. Now, the item pipes, I am going to have to get upgrades on, but that part is perfectly easy to do, and it's a little cheaper than our upgrades, our like storage upgrades. Their speed upgrades are going to be from refined. Okay, cool. So now we can come over here to our crusher and we can set up its config, clear it. Input is going to be at the top, output will be on the back. Same thing here, clear it. Input's the top, output's the back. And now we can set up crafting for these automatically. Let's get going. Let's go over here. Let's go to our patterns. We're going to go ahead and make sure we got that interface set up. We have the exporter set up. Problem that we're going to run into now is that, oh no, we're out of patterns. But are we really? If I come over here and I say craft me 10 more patterns, look what it's going to do. Oh, craft me 10 more patterns. Wow. Throw those in there, and then I can get my importer. And you can see where this can easily fill up multiple of these iron crafters. But now we can craft interfaces on demand if I need to. Interface. Bam. One thing that we need to do is get sand going, or glass. We are out of glass. Glass now cannot be crafted in a material generator, correct? I'm going to have the extra redstone furnace, so I could just have that just be constantly processing glass. Sure, why not? Let's go ahead and do that. This guy is going to get retired, and he is going to be now dedicated to simply glass. And then this pulverizer is not going to be needed anymore because I'm going to have a crusher able to handle all that. So we don't need that. Sawmill can come. Like, I don't even really necessarily need the sawmill, but like I made it, so we can go ahead and put that there. We can move this guy over. We can clear up its config for the moment. It's going to input from the top, output to the back. We're going to get an importer. You guys can all go away. You can go away. You go here. Importer. And an exporter. And to be honest, we probably should get an interface over here too. And yeah, but getting the items out of these is going to be a pain. I could go off the top of this and then not have to have this long chain. And then I can have like an interface sit at the end of this long chain. Ideally, this would be on this side. I'm going to have to rearrange this. I'll work on doing that in between episodes then. So for now, let's just get this exporting and importing. And then we can work on getting an interface. It's not that big of a deal. Clean that up a little bit. Importer, exporter. So what I'm going to do, first things first, let's get all of our glass. I don't know why I flew over here. I have access wirelessly. That's connecting glass. Okay, so I don't have any regular glass right now. That is connecting glass. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to our redstone furnace. We're going to get our importer. We'll set that up on the top, and we're going to break this connection, but we'll set up an exporter on the back, and then bridge. Nope. Thank you. Bridge that. Importer is going to import sand. Exporter is going to export anything that comes into there. So this, if I set that to import, I have those backwards, don't I? Importer, exporter, sand. There. Now I'll start cooking sand and turning it into glass. Give me you, and then we'll go pop you in a drawer. Perfect. Now I got glass auto smelting. And since, you know, that thing was just going to sit there and do nothing, might as well. Let's just take out all the glass and then shove it back in, which should shove it all into the drawer. So now we have glass being produced for us automatically. We can do the same with logs, or I could just set up a crafter here for logs. Oh, we got a thunderstorm going on. Wow. I can set a crafter here for logs or planks when I need to. I can just have it go into the sawmill, though. I mean, is it necessary? I don't know. Let's go ahead and see what else we got. Bam, that took care of that. We taught the system how to make these things, right? I did do that. Yep, taught the system to make those things, taught the system to make that. What I do want to do, let's teach the system how to make deep slate, which is just going to be smelting up cobbled deep slate. We can go ahead, and this recipe we're going to go ahead and put into our smelter. Now, if I ask for deep slate, I can request 64 of those, and it'll automatically pop it into here. Perfect opportunity for us to shut down some sounds. Mechanism, turn them all off. But it's going to go ahead and create our deep slate, and then it should... it helps if I set my pipes to extract. There we go. There we go. And that comes into there. And now deep slate is being produced for us. So we can get that, which means I can get compact machines, which means I can clean this up. I don't have to have this anymore. So I think that's what I'm going to work on. Before I wrap up this episode, let's get a compact machine going. Let's talk about a compact machine. Compact machines, fantastic mod. Again, I say that about a lot of mods, but you know what they are? A lot of these mods are absolutely phenomenal. What do you require? You require a block of netherite, which is kind of expensive, but kind of sort of not. I have that available to me too. And of course, I want to go with a maximum size. Like, why wouldn't I go with the biggest that I can get? You know? Compact machine wall is going to require polished deep slate, and polished deep slate is I don't even need the regular. It's cobbled that I need for this anyway. All right, that's pretty handy. So now if I come in here and I ask for a compact machine frame, I forgot to teach it the block of netherite. Okay, that's fine, but I need to teach the system to do that. And then, yeah. Along with that, I'm also going to need to teach it how to make the wireless transmitters and all that stuff and the network cards and that, but we'll get to that. Let's do... I need the thingamadingy from this. Personal shrinking device. There's that. Now I can ask for a compact machine, and you'll see how awesome these compact machines are. Compact machines are, well, compact machines. They are blocks that we can enter into, and it enters us into our own little dimension for crafting and all of the things. So if I right click, just right click on there, bam, look at that. I have a nice big old space, self-contained for all of the things that I need to do. It's in its own dimension. If I chunk load it, it will automatically process, but it doesn't have to render the machine, so it makes it less laggy for us. And then I exit it and I come right back out. So what I'm going to do is get this all set up into there, which means I need a couple more patterns. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh, no, wrong button. Pattern. Let's craft 10 more patterns. Now I should have the glass available to us. Now my big process is going to be the redstone that I don't have access to, but that's still processing, so it's making redstone for us. We'll get that going, and then from there, I can go ahead and say, okay, from refined, I'm going to want network receiver, network transmitter. I'm also going to want wireless transmitters, so I have access to my system inside of there, and network cards. Bam. Okay. So we can go ahead and tell it to craft that, and tell it to craft that, and tell it to craft that. The only thing that we don't have available for crafting is our advanced processors. Now, that is a processing recipe. It is important to note that when I do this, it changes to a processing recipe. So that means I put in a raw advanced processor, I get out an advanced processor, and I have to stick that into a machine. That's where that goes. Let's just go ahead. Since I'm here, I might as well just do all 3 of these. And then all 3 of these. Now, the silicone is going to be the one, and actually, to be honest, that one's not even that complicated either, is it? Because it can go into that inscriber, and the inscriber already automatically does its thing. I would just have to set it to, yeah, that's perfectly fine. Processor bindings are going to be needed, and string is going to be flax. Okay. So some of you are processing recipes. If you hold shift, you can see what they are, and you can see that it says processing, but these are all just standard crafts. So those can go there, but this is going to go over here into our smelter. Now the smelter is extremely slow. So nothing much I can do about that right now until I get these upgrades going. From mechanism, do I have the ability to make any of these? I do. I can make a basic tier installer. How about an advanced? I do not have advanced control circuits. Now I do. Advanced control circuit. And what about an elite? I do not have reinforced alloy or anything like that going on. But with that, I can go ahead and upgrade my machines. So I go here, shift click that, and then shift click that. And now it can smelt multiple at once. So technically it is faster in the sense that I just 5x'd how many can run through it. But it is not faster in the sense that the processing time is still the same. I have to get the upgrades in order to make that faster, which we will work on. And we're going to get crafters set up on all of these guys so that we can have those processing and doing all the things. And we're getting automated, guys. This is fantastic. This is the best part of Minecraft for me. I love auto crafting. So in between episodes here, or maybe, we have one more episode to do before the end of this week. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll move all that stuff into the system. We'll see. We'll see where we end up. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. If you enjoyed, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate it, and it really does help out the channel. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.